Hey everyone, Pastor Nathan here, getting a nice stretch right before my run on a beautiful day at the beach. And that's the word I really want to focus on today, is that word stretch. Because many of us are feeling stretched right now, aren't we? And that word means to expand or extend to something of greater size or length. And when it comes to your life, to know that if we're growing, God will stretch us, especially to grow more and more like His Son, Christ Jesus. Paul says it best in 2 Corinthians 3:17, where he says that we are being conformed to transformation, to change, to being stretched from glory to look more like Christ. And let's be honest though, we don't like to be stretched. I mean, when I was younger, I'd play sports, I would never stretch. I'd just jump in the game. I'd look and say, that's for those old folks over there stretching. Well, I guess I got to say, well, I'm in the club now because I'm not the young whippersnapper that I used to. And why do I stretch? Because I'll get injured if I don't. And believe me, I felt it. And in a spiritual sense too, it can be difficult when we're feeling stretched, especially beyond our limits. And many of us might be feeling that right now, and we're trying to make decisions, and we can really wrestle with how much we're being stretched in this time. But I want to tell you that God has a purpose for us in the stretching. Perhaps you've heard of one of the unwritten Beatitudes of Jesus, where He says, "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be bent out of shape." Okay, I'm just kidding. That's all jokes aside. That really God is stretching us so that we can be prepared for greater things when they come. Let me give you an example of this, that we might be stretched to a degree when we have a minor setback. I hurt my ankle the other day, and how was I going to have the right disposition before God in that? To maybe your computer crashes, to a fight with someone you love. It is in these stretches that God is preparing us for greater things that are on the horizon. Because who knows, maybe there might be a more serious injury or life-threatening type of health concern. And how are we going to be able to prepare to handle that with someone we love? Maybe we're not sure how the money's going to come in, and can we trust God in the midst of that? Or perhaps there was a huge fallout with someone we love, and we have to seek Him further on how to bring restoration. Those bigger things, we have to be able to know how to handle that. We might be stretched now to take on those more difficult matters. And this isn't new. There's nothing new under the sun. The Israelites dealt with this all the time in their wilderness experience. They thought it was too much of a stretch to trust God for food and water, too much of a stretch to go into the promised land. But once they did focus on Him and a new generation came, they were able to have victory. But once their eyes got focused off of Christ and they weren't willing to be stretched and grow anymore, that's when the problems came. And we're no different. We talk about how it might be too much of a stretch to be consistent on the live stream service. Or maybe it's too much of a stretch to give a tithe in this season, or too much of a stretch to believe in what God has for us. Or maybe it's to read His Word and pray daily. You know what that might be for you. But if we fail in these small stretches of faith, we won't be ready for the larger challenges. And great injury can be done to our marriages, our relationships, and our families, not to mention our faith and devotion to God. And so I want to end with just this quote from Evan Roberts, who was in the Welsh revival in the early 1900s, and he had such a simple prayer, but it was this: "Bend me, O Lord, bend me." That God is wanting to stretch you, not break you. God is for you, and He wants to grow you. And yes, sometimes that hurts, sometimes there's pain, but we know that it can be preparation for greater things to come so we can be able to handle them. So will we say, "Lord, will you bend me so that I can do your will?" I hope that answer is yes. Have a blessed week, everyone.